Have you ever wondered what makes bodies tick? Are you creating the sexual reality you desire and require? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? What if your fantasies are not as strange as you thought they were? What if you could learn to be kinder to your body and kinder to others' bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Have you lost your mojo and wondered where to find it? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here is the host of The Pleasure Zone, Body Whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Pleasure Zone. My name is Milica Jelenic. Almost forgot my name there for a second. It's one of them days, right? Woohoo! How's it get any better than that? So tonight, I am going to be talking about temptation. And, the topic comes up and people are like, ooh, we're going to talk about sexy things that are tempting, blah, blah, blah. This topic has brought up so much awareness for me. And I'm also aware that it's got so many different aspects to speak on and to look at. So, if you're in the chat room, feel free to write about it. If you're calling in live, feel free to chat about it. I'm going to give you guys a little information before we totally start in on this topic about me and what I'm creating and some things I'm co-creating on as well. So one of the first things I'd like to tell you guys about is that as much as I love talking about sex and copulation and bodies, I also have a pretty cool ability with reading tarot cards and other things. I have me some psychic abilities. I don't know if you got some psychic abilities, but I got me some psychic abilities. And I am I have created a website, and feel free to check it out. It's not something that I have linked to my A to Zen site right now, and I will in the future. My site is called Bust Open Your Psychic Self, and on that site, there are lots of options to classes I'm creating and different things that I'm doing, mostly online classes, and also personal stuff that I'm working with people. If you'd like, personal sessions, or if you'd like some one-on-one coaching training for your own business that you have as a reader, and you'd like to know how to do it in a different way, or you'd like some business coaching on like how do you actually create a business that can generate some money doing psychic stuff. I've actually been doing this stuff publicly for 18 years. And so I have some experience in this. So I'm willing to share that with everybody. And you can join me online for classes. You can join me online for sessions. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to see you on there. So my most upcoming class is starting in January, and it's a monthly call. It's kind of like going to be a psychic training online for about an hour to an hour and a half, once a month for a year. And you can find that on bustOpenYourPsychicSelf.weebly.com. And you can sign up on there, and or you can friend me on Facebook and ask me for the link. I'd be happy to send it to you. So it comes to about $25 a month, I think, something like that for the year. It's $247 for the year if you'd like to join, and that's like a one-time payment for the whole year. So I'd love to have you guys on and playing with me. And I also created something that is a weekly. You would get a 1 card a week reading that is actually a reading for the collective of everybody that's joined the call. And I'm going to sneeze right now, so hold on. Okay, awesome. And so once a week, I'm going to be sending out a tarot reading to the entire collective of everybody. And so it's going to be looking at all the energies coming up for every person. And what I'm going to be doing is part of the money that I'm collecting is going to this organization called Amarok. So I have a little thing that I've set up where if 30 people sign up, Amarok gets 10%, and it goes up incrementally. And if over 200 people sign up, I am gifting Amarok 50% of the money that comes in. So what Amarok does is it teaches one mother who then teaches 5 children. And so what their target is, and they're doing this mostly in Bangladesh right now, and their target is to mostly get as many mothers as possible teaching their children how to read and write, educating them all in the basics they haven't had access to. And so far in the last few years that they've done, they've educated a lot of mothers who have then educated a lot of children. And they've even got a printing press going, so they're getting their own stuff going on. And I would love, if you guys don't want to contribute to my call, that's okay. I won't be offended if you don't want to sign up to my weekly thing. And if you prefer to just sign up directly to amaroksociety.com and you can, donate to them, that would be great. I would really love to contribute to those guys and what they're creating on the planet right now. It speaks to my heart so much that they are doing this for mothers, to empower mothers so that they can have, so they can feel like they're contributing to the world in a totally different way, and educate themselves as well. So I love that program. And so it's $15 a month to join me to get your weekly reading, or $152 for the year. So whatever you like, you can join me with that too. And you can find that, that will be on my website in the next 24 hours. So you can find that on milicajelenic.com. And again, you can just write to me on Facebook and I can send you the registration links for that. So that's another thing that I'm doing. And I'm also working with bodies as usual and as always, and I'm loving that. So if you're looking for sessions and you'd like me to come to your area, I would love to come and touch you. I know that sounds strange and yet very enticing, correct? So tonight, the topic is temptation. And, don't think we've talked about this yet, which is kind of funny. So we are tonight. And so when I look at temptation for me, I've noticed in the last few weeks especially, there's so many things that have come up in my face that tempt me to do this or do that, or choose this or choose that. And so one of the most recent things that came up in my life, and I have, I really like to not have to pay a lot of money for credit card past expenditures to get rid of them. So, anything that offers me lower percentages, I'm like, yay, that's great. So I got a call a couple weeks ago, and it was a very tempting call. They had all this information for me about me. They knew everything about me, and there was one piece of information they just required in order to confirm something for me so that I could get this new credit card. And the whole time this person was talking, I was really mad. Like I wanted to punch them in the face. And at the same time, I was like, just give me the fucking deal. And I was so mad, and I was so like, ugh. And then after I got off the phone, about 5 minutes later, I went, oh, that was a pile of shit. So I called the credit card company, and they said, yeah, no, that is fraud, and that actually considered identity theft, as they had all my information. So after having all my information, what I did get to become very aware of is, and I'm sharing this with you guys, this is a very strange thing to share on Pleasure Zone, but if any credit card companies call you or any banks call you, don't just take it for granted to talk to them. Call them back on the phone number that you have available and ask as many questions as possible. Call all your banks, get as much information as you can as possible. And please, even if it sounds like an amazing yes, and it sounds all legit, even when you get that feeling like you want to punch somebody in the head, you might be aware of something. You might be aware that they're lying to you. So sometimes when we get that anchored, how aware are we of the lies that are being perpetrated and fed to us, right? So these things that are temptations, I notice that it's for me, it's wow, well, I'm tempted and it feels so interesting and so cool. And at some point I have this desire to devour it, I'm going to eat the whole idea up, and at the same time I want to destroy it. It's this dichotomy that plays out, and it's really intense. So I'm actually gonna have a few, things. I'm going to be putting this out to the world because it's something. So if you are on my mailing list, you're going to get this information again. Please know that if banks call you, call them back, because it could very well be a lie. And if you are pissed off when somebody's calling you, it's probably a lie. So the other thing is it led me to the question of what is it that tempts me, so much so that I'm willing to give up my awareness in favor of what tempts me. So there's a lot of things that tempt me, and it's really funny. They're like very few of them are sex, very few. And so what a lot of them are, I'll give up my awareness for food. I'll give up my awareness for money. Well, I did. And now I'm becoming more aware of where these things tempt me. And I'm like, interesting. Look what I'm doing and look what I'm choosing. So the other day I was Christmas shopping, and I was actually in this like, the signs go out and they're like 50% off, 75% off, 70% off. And I was shopping for a Christmas present for my mother. So we're in a store that, I'm very familiar with. I go there for stuff for her all the time. And there were all these signs. And like those 70% signs, they tempt me like something crazy. It's really funny and almost obnoxious in a way. So I'm getting dinged on Facebook by people who are not aware that I'm on the radio. How's it get any better than that? So I'm looking and Facebook tempts me. How about you guys? How many times on social media and it totally distracts you from everything else in your world, from creating the things you could create, from all of it. Like there's so many things that tempt me where I get totally sidetracked out of my creations and where I actually could be a contribution and where I fall into this like insanity. So the temptation of the 70% off sign was really interesting, and I was very aware of it. And one of the things I became aware of when I was in this store was all the energies of all the people going crazy, not just in that store, in the mall, and just like universally going crazy for Christmas shopping. And oh my God, did I get the right present? Oh no. People are so tempted right now this time of year to like both hit each other and love each other and buy things for each other and then be pissed off for buying things for each other. It was like very. It was a very intense energy, but I did bring my tool belt that day. So here I was with my tool belt of consciousness and possibilities and choice, and I'm on there and I'm like, okay, so what can I ask? Like right now, what can I ask that will, have my own back? Because so many times I'll ask questions, they don't necessarily have my own back. They might have like, if I buy 12 sweaters, will this make everybody happy? That isn't the question to ask. So if I were to ask a question that had my own back, what would that be? And so the question of having my own back was like, okay, so if I do buy you, will you make me money? Will this be... And so I had a bunch of questions, mostly related to my body and gifting to my body and gifting to the body of the person that I was purchasing for. So when you are buying things, you don't have to just be like 70% off, yay! So keep asking questions like, if I purchase this, will this make me money and will it make them money? Because not only when you're purchasing a gift for somebody, you can make money from it and so can they. Sounds weird, and I am aware that that's a total possibility. So please ask all of those questions, and so you're not going crazy by all these things that tempt, like, oh, look at that chocolate, 50% off. Oh my God, I'm going to go crazy. I got 35 pounds of chocolate, and now I've got to eat it all because I don't want to waste it. And we get tempted by things, and so what drives your temptation? If for me, it's like I've noticed that a lot of the things that are tempting me are like what I see as really great deals. Where can I save money? It's all from a lack mentality, and it's really, really funny. So the more I'm stepping into choosing to create from a place and choosing more of what is more like a life of elegant luxury rather than poverty and lack, even though, I have a home, I have this beautiful property, you can still have a poverty mentality and have this stuff. You can still be like, oh my God, I have nothing, and blah, blah, blah. So this is really for me, like where I'm starting to choose more elegance in my life rather than being tempted by things that are not contributing to me in my life and my living and everybody else around me. So I just went on a total like blah, blah, blah fest for the last 15 minutes. And when we come back from break, I'm going to speak with some of you guys who called in. So thank you for calling in.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK. Or Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and we have some non-specific questions, which is cool. I just like chatting, which is awesome. And so we can put on our first caller, and we can just chat about anything and everything. I'm cool with that. So, yes, awesome. Let's speak with Michael.
Hi, Milica.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
Good. So Michael is an avid listener of the Pleasure Zone, so I want to thank you for coming on live, and you've been on live with me before, and this time I'm less shy and like, I'm talking to Michael than I was last time.
Right.
Because I so had that before. I was like, oh my God, really talking to you. It was really funny.
Yeah. That was a good time. That was a good time.
It was a good time.
Yeah, I hear we're talking about temptations today.
We are. Isn't it funny? I thought I'd bring that up just like a week before my wedding, because that's what you bring up, right? It's like, how much of that is in my face right now? Like, I'm tempted to I'm still tempted to get married, and at the same time, it's like I'm tempted to go like, wow, am I crazy? Like, what is this? And yet, in a lot of awareness that I'm having is like, I'm so aware of how many people operate from guilt, and that they're not choosing out of like choice. And so like a lot of the stuff I'm perceiving isn't even mine, which has been really interesting.
Right. And you know, with the marriage thing, your body will tell you the right thing to do. Yeah.
Bodies are great like that.
Yeah, that's how that works, And I'm really happy for you, and in that sense too, that you are getting married, so congratulations.
Thank you.
On that, and just hope everything turns out well.
I love that. So all my boys out there who are like, I just want to keep talking to you forever. You guys are still allowed to talk to me forever. It's cool.
Yeah, you're a great person with great energy, and it's so easy to talk to you, and that's why people want to talk to you.
Thank you.
Because you're just non-judgmental about anything. You just receive, and that's a good thing.
I love that. So,
And that's
Michael, what in your life tempts you? Like, do you have anything crazy that tempts you? Like, for me, it's those shopping deals. Like, do you have anything that, like, just, like, gets you?
Oh, honestly, food.
Yeah, food. That is such a big one for me, too. So, ice cream tempts me like crazy. I swear it calls me. And I don't live in the city, so I can't go get it all the time. That's just...
That's my biggest temptation is ice cream.
Yeah. Isn't it a weird thing? What is it about ice cream that is so like, I've got to have you. Oh my God, I've got to have you now. Perhaps, and my producer, hers is sex. Yes, we all have one of those things.
Yeah.
And there's something like about all of our temptations that it's just like, as if there's this like whisper in the air always going on around. So it's like we hear that everywhere, like, oh, food, ice cream, this, like, yeah, I don't know. So is temptation like really ours even, I wonder? As I started to write about that today, I started to get these awarenesses that so much of it is who does it belong to? Like, who's all this temptation? Is it even my temptation? Am I really aware of everybody else's like bodies, what they're asking for? Even like the shopping in the mall, like I was aware that I was aware of everybody going crazy and desiring to get the best deals. So, and like overdoing it, right? So, yeah, it's interesting. Oh, for a lot of people, we've got ice cream or sex going on in the chat room, and both for most people, which is great. So, we're not alone here with the ice cream or sex part. This is good.
Well, I see temptation as an energy,
mm-hmm.
and I don't see it as good or bad. It's just what direction do we want to take the temptation in? Do we want to take the temptation to a good place that will empower us, or do we want to take it to a bad place which will hurt us?
So it's really like, once we choose, if we're choosing from awareness, if there's a temptation that comes up and we follow it and it's contributing to our life, then we're good to go, right? And
right.
Yeah, and so many times we do it so unconsciously, so that like unconscious temptation. When I did look it up online, it has a lot of reference to sin, of course. Like temptation is the act of enticing someone to sin. So I was like, okay, let's see what their point of view of sin is. And their point of view of sin, and this is from etymonline.com, the etymology online thing, is that it's a moral wrongdoing, an injury. I'll go through some other words: mischief, enmity, feud, guilt, crime, offense against God, and deed.
Right.
An offense against God kind of made me go, interesting, an offense against God. So how can we offend? That has always made me wonder, like, how can we offend, say, if there's a God and you're choosing to believe in a God, how can you offend a God? That I never understood, how we can offend something that's supposed to be all loving, all caring, all kind. How do you offend something in that respect? So, very funny.
Yeah,
so in the original...
I was going to say that's something to look into.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, Keisha, one of my producers, Keisha, was saying that never had anything to do with God in the original Aramaic language or context. So, Keisha, if you have any info on that and you can get it to us, that would be awesome. So one of the things too was about the guilt, right? So how many people go, I was so tempted and then I had an affair, and then they carry the guilt with them. So would it still count as temptation if you didn't have guilt attached to it, or you didn't have all these other things attached to it? Would it just be choice? I chose this. It was no longer a temptation. It was a choice. I chose it. and it didn't have anything to do with the sin attached to it or the moral wrongdoing, mischief, crime, offense, misdeed, all that stuff. So it's, to me, it's a very just kind of like a curiosity how we've, we use temptation in different ways than it was actually like written about, just like we do with most words. But so, and so for me, like what it is just like this feeling like I want to, like if I'm tempted by something, I want to I want to ingest it, like as if I could eat it and digest it and have it. And then I also want to, at the same time, just like not have that. So I want to destroy it before I can do that. It's like a duality of insanity that's going on at the same time, like a really intense thing internally for me. So, yeah.
I'm saying temptation is always going to be there, but how are we going to choose to look at it or not look at it? Or are we just going to ignore it completely? We got different directions we can go to. So if you want to feel tempted, you're going to feel tempted. If you don't want to, you're not going to be. It's all a matter of how you. It's a perception.
So if we are like willing to acknowledge that things tempt us, then we acknowledge that, and then we can have more consciousness around it. Like, I'm really tempted to cream right now, and okay, now I can ask my body some questions. Like, body, would you like to digest this? Body, would you like to, lick this? Would you like to taste this? Would you like to poop this out later? Like, what would you like to do with this? So ask your body. And a lot of these things that are temptations, a lot of them have a sensorial reaction in the body. Like for me, there's like a sensorial reaction, anything that's a temptation, like my heartbeat goes up, get a little excited. There's like this energy that comes over me, and my body interprets all of that and like goes, yeah, like that's what I'm choosing. Kind of like watching a dog when you say, let's go for a walk, and the dog's like, yeah. It's really tempted, really enticed, and really like in there. So I wonder if we acknowledged our bodies more when those energies of temptation come up, and started asking them more questions, would we still have like all the guilt and stuff around it? If we're actually including our bodies, would we have guilt, or would that not even exist? I'm just getting some info in the back end, but go ahead.
Do you want to have the guilt attached to it? I think that's a choice that's a choice we have to make. Do you want to have the guilt attached to it? Because guilt is a negative emotion. Guilt is so negative. We choose it. We choose guilt.
We choose a lot of those things that are distractions, like guilt and shame and blame, and we choose them, and then we can also acknowledge them and then unchoose it. So many times we're not even aware that they're like running our lives, right? So I just got a Keisha, and thank you, Keisha. She's saying that sin literally means missing of the mark, like if you aim at the bullseye and miss. Wow, that's really cool. I had no idea. Right. Very interesting. So it has nothing to do with the God thing at all. Very cool. Right. I'm going to be putting that somewhere. It was a proper name of an entity. Very cool. Huh.
Right. I was going to tell you, if you don't mind, another one of my temptations is wanting to listen to your show.
I love that. So,
and
because
it's like I have to be there. Huh?
It's also because I talk naughty talk on here, right? It's that.
Well, no, it's because you're a beautiful person inside and out, and your energy draws me to the show, and it draws me to you. And
I love that.
That's how I'm using it as a positive force.
I love that. Is anybody else tempted today to listen to this show? We have some people in the chat room and some other people online. And thank you for being tempted to listen. And thank you for that, because I didn't really even think of it as that. It's like being drawn to something. And there you go. And so, yeah, it's not that it's a positive or negative. It's like For me, it's like I was aware that I was using things that were drawing me in as a total distraction and not having awareness around it. So what if we all had that temptation, and then we could totally choose from awareness rather than our like automatic pilot responses that we tend to go to. So we're actually going to go to break in like 3 seconds, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about temptation. And if anybody, we've got some other callers too, so we'll include them in here if they'd like to talk. And I'll let you guys know what's going on in the chat room. We have lots of discussions going on here. So thank you so much for listening tonight, and we'll be back in a few minutes after break.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bar session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK. Or Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight we're talking about temptation. For those of you who are just joining us, we haven't gotten into the fun, sexy part of it yet. We've talked about other things that are tempting, like discounts and shopping and food and all kinds of other things that are really tempting. And just before we went live tonight, I was talking with my producers and friends, and we were talking about things that were coming up for us this week, and there especially today, and there was so much like, I just want to smack people in the head coming out, and the temptation, and as my friend Christine said, my temptation tonight is to throat punch somebody, and I was like, so get you, girl, like I've had that for a few days now. I literally sent my daughter off to be at my mom's for the night, as my body just required so much space from her that I was becoming a total evil bitch. And I'm like, wow, what the heck is this? And my temptation to run away from everybody and be like, okay, to my fiance lover, okay, you can now be dad and take over. I'm fucking out of here. I don't like this anymore. I'm going to just go live in a hovel. Like, this is not fun. And there was nothing awful or wrong, and they were actually both being really kind. So I first chalked it up to my hormones must be freaking crazy. Then I chalked it up to if it's not hormones, if I'm not like going into premenopause, and it must be this and it must be that. I had a lot of conclusions coming up. Can you imagine? I might have done that with me. Had a lot of conclusions, and then I was like, wait a minute. what's right about this I'm not getting? And so much of it was like, Holy Mother Mary, pray for us sinners, Mother Mary. So I was so aware that I am so aware, and that there is so much crap coming out. And yes, thank you, Keisha. Me, really, I did that. And there was just like so many things that were annoying me, and just like on the planet everywhere. And what I'm aware of is that one of my first things, I'm really tempted by running away. Have been doing it my whole life since I was, and that doesn't mean that that's like, well, since I've been doing it my whole life, this is okay. This is a really great auto response system, and I think everybody, instead of actually dealing with things, should run away because I do it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying this is what I'm aware of about me. I know that as a kid, it was like if my parents were fighting, my first response was run away. If I felt lonely, run away. If something was bothering me, run away. If whatever it was, run away. Run away was my first response. Fight or flight, I took flight like every time, which is ironic and hilarious that I have a second-degree black belt in a martial art and studied for 10 years, because my first instinct is run away. So, and still to this day, even did it to my friend last weekend at a class. She was like being totally kind and present with me, and I was like not doing that. And my first thing was like, I don't even know why the fuck I'm at this class. I was so annoyed. And then I was like, she was just present the whole time, and it took me like about an hour or two. And then I was like, okay, what if I don't run away? Like, what if I don't have to run away? And I actually chose to be more present and got way more out of that class than I'd even thought. And by the way, the person I'm talking about is Christine McIver, and she facilitates foundation level ones. Shout out to Christine. For anybody who would like one, she's willing to sit with you even when you want to run the fuck away from her and hide or tell her to screw off. She'll just sit there with you and be there and present. So thank you for that. And so I'm aware that's my auto response system. And before I used to just do the runaway, and now I'm like, I want to run away. This is what I wanted. This is what I need to do, is run away, get the hell out of here. And so far to date, I've only had that experience with my lover fiance once, and that was the night of the bear incident. For any of you guys who have listened to this show, when I wasn't aware of how he's not physically able to hear me. So I was like, well, then fine. What are we even doing together? We should just break up. Blah, 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 blah. And then he was like, well, if you can't be with a deaf person, then we should just break up. And I'm like, well, screw you. I'm not breaking up with you. Then I'm going to learn sign language, damn it. And so are you. As soon as he gave me permission to like run away, I was like, no friggin' way. I'm going to learn sign language. It's when people are like, no, you can't run away. I was always told by my parents, no, you can't run away. Christine gave me the like, you got choice. You can run away or not run away. It's your choice. And I was like, now what do I do with this? What do I do with this energy? This person's not resisting to me. They're not agreeing with me. What do I do with this? So that also kind of created some awareness around the desire to run away from things. And I had, so some of these things have really been tempting me lately, running away, punching people out. I had like massive stuff going on in my life around like temptation for suicide was huge until about the age of 34. And it was like I didn't want to do it in ugly ways. Like I wasn't into like, kind of slitting my wrists or anything. That wasn't cute or whatever. And if I'm making a lot of light of this, but I have a lot of more light around all of this than I used to. So if you don't have light around this and you would like to have some more ease in your world, please call me. I'm very familiar with the temptation of suicide. It's something I'm very familiar with. Money was like one of my number one excuses to off myself. I never thought I was worth the tax bill that came in, so I'd rather kill myself than pay the $4,500 in taxes that I had owed. Then there was another time, there was some other thing that came up. There was one time that it was more of a physical thing that my body had incurred, and I was like, what? Yeah, that was a $4,500 tax bill on my income, Keisha. So we have to pay taxes in Canada. We get these and then I know not all countries have it, but the U.S. does have it too. We just have a really high tax percentage in Canada. We pay a minimum of 27% of our income to taxes. So I didn't have a huge income that year. So I made maybe $20,000 that year, and it was devastating to my whole livelihood to give away that much money. We do have a sexy prime minister. That's another bonus to Canadians. So it almost makes it like, I'll pay taxes if we can have him around because he's nice to look at. So it's like a pretty, it was a really intense time for me with that. So my temptation for suicide was up high. Also, after I had my daughter, I was going through, and people talk about postpartum depression. My daughter was 2 years old at the time, and I just wasn't sleeping. It was more like insanity, and that was sending me over the edge pretty high. On every occasion, it was always about somebody else's life that I was affecting, that I couldn't choose it because it would affect somebody else. So the tax bill, wanting to run into the side rails of this major highway in Toronto, the 401. I just thought, I could just run into that highway and I'd be done. And I thought, what if my car ricochets and it's going to hit everybody else, and I don't want to hurt other people. I just want to be done with this. And then the other time was like, I could jump off the rocks here. And I was like, oh, crap, because what if people find my body and they get disturbed and have nightmares? I don't want them to be disturbed by my broken body. And another time was like after my daughter was 2, and I thought, I could jump off this bridge. And everything seemed like, okay, yeah, if I jump off the bridge, the water's high enough, it can drag my body downstream. I was like, shit, my daughter's dad is such a jerk-off that I can't leave her with him. So it was literally like I chose not to because I just did not want to have to deal with an incompetent father. So, yeah, I just didn't want to traumatize anyone. That's right. I just want to get it over with. And I just do it in a way that's easy and get it over with and fast. I was looking for fast ways to do it and not have other people traumatized. I'm so cute. And so that was a huge temptation for me for a long time. Then I got a lot of tools and I gained more awareness and now have more, choosing to be more conscious. And so that's changed a lot for me, and I'm really, really grateful for all the tools that I've received from Access Consciousness. I had energy work before. I had a lot of other tools, and I had therapy, and I still the stuff was coming up for me. So, I haven't had the suicidal thoughts. I've been aware of suicidal thoughts. Suicidal, I wonder what that is. But anyway, that's when you want to sue people and then kill them at the same time. Sue yourself and kill yourself at the same time. Suicidal. But suicidal is more like what I was going through. And I'm very aware of those energies now. So when they come up and I'm like, kill myself. Oh, truth, is that mine? No, I'm just really aware of all the suicidal people on the planet that would like to off themselves. So if you are having suicidal thoughts, please first ask number one question, who does that belong to? Is that even yours? Are you aware of something going on the planet? Is it somebody else's or something else's? And then go from there. If it's not yours, return it to sender with consciousness attached. And if it's something else, ask more questions about what you're aware of, because chances are you're aware of a lot. That was a total sideline, though it seemed to segue somehow because it's to do with temptation for me and what I was tempted by. And so, being tempted to hit people, being tempted, many people have temptations and then they fall through, and then there's the regret and the guilt and blah, blah, blah. So please, if you are tempted by something or into something and you choose it, really choose it. And then have no guilt attached to it. Have no shame. Have no blame. And know you are choosing it. It wasn't just that you were conned into it. So we're going to talk more about temptation when we come back from break. Thank you so much.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK. Or Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight we're talking about temptation, things that tempt us. Not just sex, so many other things are temptations, food and bodies and, shopping and lower tax bills and lower interest rates. Like, so many things for me are tempting. And that, I know me, and I know that it's like, oh, there's this. It's like, my whole body gets turned on by the idea of something. So please ask questions when you notice that you're like, ooh, what's that shiny little object? Ooh, I like that shiny little object. So truth, will that shiny little object be a contribution to your life if you choose it? What are you aware of? So please ask questions. And if there's some energy that comes up for you where you get like, you're both would like to have it, and at the same time you're getting really angry, start asking, is there like a lie here? Is what this person is offering you, if there's an offer coming on the table, and it's making you really angry, or you're noticing this like anger is coming up, you might ask something like, is this even your anger? Maybe theirs, right? Who does that belong to is one question. And truth, is it a lie that you're aware of? So I know I get like really, really mad when people are pulling the lies off at me, and I just want to like, just like, crap, it's so much easier if you just say what's going down. And literally like today, sending my daughter away for the night because it was like, why are you lying to me about all this stuff you did in your room? You put nail polish on your floor and I want to kick your butt. Go to your grandma so I don't hurt you. So it was like really intense. It wasn't about the nail polish on the floor. It was more about the lie. I didn't do that, Mummy. Really, Sifa? Did I go into your room and put nail polish on your floor? If it was you and your friend, then it was and your friend. So it was both of you did it. So just saying. So yeah, that kind of thing is like, wow. I get more worked up about somebody just not going, this is what it is, than them hiding it. It's not even that they're hiding it or that they're lying about it. Just so much easier if you just be like, say what, yeah, I put nail polish on the floor. Okay, you did. I see that. Now let's clean it up. Instead of, I don't know who did that. Oh, shut up. I know you know who did that. So temptation, wringing people's necks and things. Like, thank God for grandmothers who will take your children so that you don't have to do silly things and regret it in the future. So that, I think, is what grandparents were created for, is to save parents from doing silly things they would regret in the future. So one of the other things, temptation is one of the most obvious ones, maybe it's not the most obvious, but it is to me, is, the temptation of sex. So I've got 3 minutes left to talk about this. How awesome is that? And so for you with bodies too, if you get this amazingly gorgeous body in your face and you're just like, yeah, I gotta have it, and you're doing the same thing like I do with the 70% off sales. Wow, that's great. I'll have 3. Wow, sexy bodies. I'll have 5. Yeah. So please ask questions. I know these questions actually are contribution. So if I choose this body, will it be ease? Will it be fun? Will it be, will it bring me more joy? Will it add to my life? So many things you can ask. And always asking. The temptation is sexually oriented. Ask your body what it's aware of around STDs with that person, whether that person has them or whether together you co-create one. Bodies are funny that way. As much as we think we can track them from some people, sometimes it's also the energy of 2 people coming together that can spark something in a body that was latent or sleeping or another lifetime. So that's what I'm aware of. So if you do have stuff come up with that, please ask a lot of questions. I mean, this is the season to get drunk and horny, right? That is what it's called, I think. Oh, it's the season to be merry. So the season to be drunk and horny, the following 2 days after the season to be merry. And so please, during this season to be drunk and horny, I would really love it if you guys would be more aware in your drunkenness and your choosing drink, what you're putting into your bodies, what you're choosing for your bodies. If you're choosing penis into your bodies or alcohol into your bodies, please ask, will this be a contribution to my body? Would my body like this? And also just wondering, like, how much fun would you have? I have a few friends who are willing to give up drinking if they could get laid. And I know they can get laid. It's just that they would like to get laid by specific people, which is really sweet and funny. So, even though the rest of the world would lay them for fun, just for fun, like, I like to get laid by this person and this person only. So if you're willing to get laid by everybody, how much more temptation can you have around you? Like, ooh, this body, I knew this body. And then really start to choose from a place of awareness. I like temptation around me, and I am so glad I have tools to have choice and to be more aware. I mean, always it's a choice. However, now it's more from a place of awareness of what will contribute to greater in my life, that I can choose from that. So, getting a diamond ring there a couple weeks ago, it was like, wow, ring. Ooh, look at that sparkly-tastic, beautiful, shiny thing. Ooh. And I was like, oh, wait, you want to marry me? Cool. Now there's temptation. This is the biggest question I've ever been asked. I was never asked about having a child. It was between me and that baby to choose this. And so this is my big choice I've made since this incarnation. So really excited. I'm so excited. It's like next week, and I got Christine, my producer and friend, come play with me on my wedding day. How lucky am I? So good night, everybody, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.